Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love MMA as much as I do. I'm really excited for this fight. I'm surprised that this fight isn't being talked about as much. And I think it's because of Ilia Tuporia. Now, no disrespect to Ilia, I love how he conducts himself, actually. He's got a good attitude. He seems like he's humble to an extent, but he's also very, very confident. You can say cocky, but he's earned the right. Look how he fights, man. And it's unfortunate he's not getting that push because he doesn't run his mouth. He doesn't talk about people's families or religions like a lot of those fighters do. He doesn't make it personal. He's just simply out to prove that he's the best, and it's business, nothing personal. And unfortunately, those fighters don't get the push that they deserve. Like Stipe, for example. That's why he's been out for 3 years, because he deserves a title fight. For example, Ilia, I think he'll be up to that status one day as one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. Speaking of greatest of all time, a guy who's trying to make that claim at featherweight is Alexander Volkanovski. This guy is a monster. He can go the distance with you. He can go through adversity. You can ask Brian Ortega about that. That was a lesser guy. Brian Ortega would have won the featherweight title that night. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. He can go through a fight where it's supposedly personal or where they don't like each other, because those two didn't like each other. A great fight. He's a champion. Champions, winners find ways to win fights that they shouldn't win or fights that they're in danger of losing. And the way he's beating everybody. And the only guy to beat him is a guy who's in a division above him and is way bigger than him. So there's no shame in that. As far as picking a winner, it was very difficult for me because this is a fight that I see that probably will go to distance. This fight, in my opinion, there is a 90% chance that this fight goes to distance because both guys are content with winning decisions. And given their fighting styles, I don't see a finish happening in this fight, First off, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I see this fight going, then I'll give you the winner. I believe Ilia is going to get the better of the stand-up in this fight. Significant strikes landed, attempts, or whatever the numbers are in the UFC. I'm more of a fan. I'm not really an analyst, but even though some people have referred to me as that, and I appreciate that. I think Ilia is going to get the better of the stand-ups because he's a pressure fighter. He's always in your face. He showed that with Josh Emmett. He's okay with getting hit in the face because he can overcome that, and still, if he gets hit 1 or 2 times really, really hard, because Josh Emmett, heck, he knocked a guy with 1 punch in his last fight. He could take the hits and, all right, boom, boom, and give you 4 or 5 for every 1 or 2 punches you hit him with, And I talk about that fight because Ilia proved a lot in that fight. He can take a lot of damage. He can overcome adversity too and still whoop you and get a 5-round win under his belt. I think it was fight of the night. So no shame to Josh Emmett, who he lost to, because that guy is a beast, because Josh Emmett's a dangerous guy himself. But I say he's going to get the better of it because I think he's going to be hungrier, more motivated to win this fight because nobody's really picking him to win this fight instead of Volk. And Volk has all the attention, all the media, as he's deserved. But Ilia is probably thinking to himself, I don't see why I can't whoop this guy and humiliate him. Why? Why can't I do it? That's probably his attitude. It should be. He's dangerous. Look at him. I love him watching him fight. Unfortunately, I think this fight goes to distance because Volk can be very hard to hit. Unless you're Islam Makhachev, where you're bigger and you got a size advantage. Everybody else has had a hard time hitting Volk because he likes to go in and out a lot. Imagine Dominic Cruz with more power in his hands and a higher finishing rate. No disrespect that Dom, he's the greatest bantamweight of all time, but you know what I mean. Volk, I believe he's going to fluster Volk. He's going to be able to hit him a lot, and Volk's going to have a hard time getting in and out, finding his range to where he doesn't get hit a lot. I believe Volk will be able to overcome it. He's going to probably he will lose the first 3 rounds because Ilia has a lot to prove. He has a lot to lose. He feels like he's motivated, obviously. I think he's going to dominate him for 3 rounds on the feet. I don't see this fight going to the ground. I believe Ilia is going to want to prove to the world, hey, I can whoop this guy in this division and get the title. I see him beating him up with jabs, with some body shots, leg kicks. I see him getting the better of the exchange. Come 4th, 5th round, Volk takes control. He makes the adjustments because, again, Volk has experience winning fights that he should lose in that moment. Or he should lose, like with Ortega. He had trouble regardless of his excuses in the Max Holloway second fight. He struggled in that fight, could have lost that fight. I believe the experience and his name, not his name, I don't want to say that like it was with Gaethje Raphael. I believe his experience and how he finishes the fight will give Alexander Volkanovski a controversial split decision. He's not going to walk through Ilia. Ilia should win this. He could win this fight. I just think Volk's range, the way his defense standing up, will scrape him by in this fight. I believe. Remember when Vanderlei fought Bisping? He lost the first 2 rounds. In my book, the third round, he came out, he dropped him, he was aggressive, he finished the fight really strong, and people felt like, he lost that fight, but he ended up finishing, and it was kind of controversial. I don't think it's going to be a Randleman Boss Rutan controversial, but give me Volk by decision, split decision.